So I work for a marketing agency called Digitas. We have an office in Mexico City, as well as many other countries around the world, and I'm based out of Chicago. Having said that, I work for companies or clients and brands across the US and sometimes internationally. And so I've been fortunate to have a lot of exposure to different kinds of brands. And experience strategy is a fancy way of saying that we focus on customer experience and helping companies engage with their customers. So like strategy is giving them guidance on what to do, where to do it, and when. So today, hopefully this is lighthearted and nerdy joke humor combined with some interesting content. And then I also hope that if you find this interesting that you'll consider following up and taking the class, obviously. So as a part of the program that we're doing, we're focusing on branding and customer experience within the world of innovation and design thinking. And so here we go. So I was watching this show on Netflix about the Bulls and Michael Jordan, since I'm from Chicago. It's called The Last Dance. It's a documentary. It's very good. But it reminded me that here's how advertising and branding used to work, especially before the internet became so popular. So this is kind of a throwback. But they literally had a multi-year long campaign from Gatorade, in this case, of Be Like Mike, because Michael Jordan was and continues to be, in my opinion, the best basketball player ever. And that's probably debatable now with Kobe and LeBron, and if you're into sports, but Michael was incredible. So this was the goal, was a brand would say, be a part of our tribe, aspire to be here with us, and this is how you would identify yourself. So when you're seen drinking Gatorade, you're like Mike. And this works. And we continue to see this in other forms that are more timeless. For example, around the world, no matter where you go in any language, you'll see a billboard or an advertisement like this for Enjoy Coca-Cola. And there's variations on it, but it's very recognizable as what it is. And very quickly, we connect it to the taste and the refreshment that we get from enjoying this soda. And also, by the way, the version of Coca-Cola they make in Mexico with different type of sugar is much better than the other versions. So you guys are lucky. And then finally, just to bring this into the present time, I was looking today before this talk started, and Coca-Cola bought Topo Chico a couple of years ago, and now they're experimenting with new versions of that product. And when I saw this, I thought, oh, they're going to make a hard seltzer version of the mineral water that we love. But in the US market, no one will know the difference, except they're launching this in Latin America. So this might work, it might not. But the brand recognition of Topo Chico will hopefully encourage people to try this and continue to be engaged in that brand. So at a very, very high level, I mean, this is sort of the classic, almost stereotypical way that we think about branding with very simple products. Of course, not every product is as simple as a soft drink, but it's something that I think we can all relate to. When it works, customers join the brand's tribe. And so for a while, there was a trend where people were having the Apple logo tattooed on their bodies. I don't recommend doing this personally. However, it does demonstrate the affinity that people have for a brand. This is nuts. This is very permanent and expresses extreme loyalty. So for Apple, this is great. So here are the visuals I just walked through. Here's the Michael Jordan Gatorade. Here's the Enjoy Coca-Cola, which we all recognize. And here's the Topo Chico hard seltzer. I'll mention, I read the press release for this, and then I'll get to where I was. They found that Topo Chico is great for mixing with cocktails, and so they just went ahead and made a mixture. And so they actually did some customer research to inform the new product. So that's good. Hopefully that leads to success for that product. It's also strange to mess with the classic product. Here's the Apple tattoo. That's not my arm. It's just something off of the internet, here off of a tattoo website. And then finally, where I was headed was to say, kind of go from timeless, classic, almost stereotypical approaches to branding, which seem dated but continue to be effective. And then there are other forms of branding and advertising where it's closer to what we talk about with aligning to customers. And I always enjoy seeing these Mr. Clean commercials. I'm not going to play the commercial for you, but you could look it up on the internet or Google it or go to mrclean.com. They basically make products, and the commercial is always showing the mom or the dad saving the day cleaning up some mess that their kids made or their pets made with a Mr. Clean product. So this aligns to something that we call the hero's journey, where the product is fulfilling a need to make the mom or dad a hero. And that's really aligned with our approach to innovation, where we look for customer needs. And if we can identify a need that a person or a lot of people have, we can then come up with ideas for products and services that help that customer fulfill that need. And by the way, these magic erasers work really well. They are kind of magical, but it's a specialty product. Okay, we also call this product fit, where the product fits into a person's life. And you'll hear me say that theme over and over again. So this is an example of a successful alignment of the branding and the customer need and experience. And then of course, these are simple products. We work on a lot of designs in my world where it's complex services or digital platforms or technologies that are not as easy as a can of Coca-Cola. They're much more difficult and complex, but the brand positioning and the customer needs at a high level still are at the same. It's just how we fulfill them. It becomes more complex. So the way that these classic brands and approaches to marketing and advertising tend to work is the brand holds a one-way communication with customers. So here's my non-branded brand label that I made up, and the single direction of communication to the customer. And the brands would almost literally say, "You will love us," like "be like us," or "if you buy our product, you will be like this." And that's the Gatorade example. I've worked for large brands like Marlboro, and this is literally what they invented, right? They created a whole brand universe for their customer demographic to become a part of, combined with an addictive product. So that's the way they get them to stay in that universe, but they don't sell them on the product, they sell them on the universe that customer can join. This works, but in today's world of digital technology and the internet and all of the way the world has changed, we'll talk about how this doesn't work as well as it used to. But this one-way communication also goes along with the next slide, which is every marketer I've ever worked with has been trained on the marketing funnel. And you'll see versions of this out there, but it's essentially using advertising and marketing to build awareness. And then from there, as a customer becomes aware and interested or curious, they start to engage with that brand. And then they discover and learn more about what that brand has to offer. Of course, there are more than one product or service from a brand. And then hopefully they purchase something and then they use it, and that retains the customer, and then the cycle starts all over. With something like a soft drink, the purchase and consumption lasts a day, an hour, it's very short. With something like the laptop I'm using right now with Apple or my iPhone, it can last years before I need to buy a new product or a new version of the thing. Okay. You'll also see things out in the world of, the marketing funnel is dead, and the reality is that this works. And in my day job at Digitas, we actually measure every stage of the marketing funnel when we do things like search engine optimization and search engine marketing and drive customers to our clients' websites to go buy stuff. So that's typically what happens. We've gotten exceedingly good at measuring it through the use of digital technologies on the internet, and that's also why we're being tracked everywhere we go and all that creepy stuff. Now, the other side of this is people don't live their life dedicated to brands, except for the rare example of tattooing a brand on your arm. They do whatever they need to do to get their job done. So, and then this year, everyone's had a strange year with coronavirus. So here's a sample of photos of my year, and most of it's with my son playing on the computer or working on projects in the garage or painting or going on hikes. And then there's the occasional riot in Chicago. We've had some crazy stuff happen in the US, literally police cars on fire. That was outside of my office, but I was not there. And then also hopefully a vacation at the beach. And in Chicago, we have a big lake called Lake Michigan, which looks like an ocean. So, teaching and just people go about their life. Now, you might see a couple brands pop up in here, but it's not really focused on, oh my gosh, I got to have an Apple laptop or a shop vac vacuum. It's I need a computer. The other thing that happens that we tend to lose track of is everybody in the world has some level of personal ambition. And I made this one up, but I think it's representative if you were to go find an existing framework. We have our day-to-day tasks that everybody does. We get up, brush our teeth, go have breakfast, etc. Outside of our job, we might have personal projects, like we just saw. Was doing a project in my garage with my son. Did the brakes on a car and it made a mess, so we were cleaning it up. But then back with the job or the career, we have ambitions to grow our career, and even beyond that, maybe we might have life goals, and those life goals may not have anything to do with a career or a personal project. It could just be something that, someday I'm going to go do this completely different thing that I've always wanted to do, or have an experience I've always wanted to have. And I've kept this intentionally generic. But the intent here is for every brand or every company marketing to customers, if they can start to understand what their customers' lives are like, and that these are the levels where a brand and a product or service might be able to help a customer achieve a new level of ambition. Now that's interesting, because that brand becomes very, very valuable to a person if it helped that person achieve something they could not achieve on their own. It's kind of like the next level above. I have a need to, clean, versus I have a goal to, achieve some big project in my life. So the next part of this is when a person determines that they have a need and they want to fulfill it, then they go on a journey. And I'm intentionally using some terminology here that relate or connect to tools and activities that we provide in our coursework. So we do a lot of customer journey mapping based on research, and we also look at what job is to be done. So people don't get up in the morning and go, I need to fulfill a requirement to do X. They go, gosh, I have a job to do today. If I don't get that done, then my kid can't, go to school or something like that. And so occasionally these will be very specific, and for a project, then we would take a generic framework like this and apply it to a specific topic. And then again, Amanda mentioned some of the clients I've worked for. So like with Whirlpool, this applies to cleaning clothing and cooking in the kitchen. Whereas with Target, it's a retail company like Walmart. So it would be all the assortment of reasons why someone would come to Target to buy whatever they're trying to buy. So things change. Having said that, I like this framework because it's sort of like a life experience journey. So there's some life goal that a person might recognize, and then they will dig into it and identify jobs to be done to achieve that goal. And they might go looking for something to help them achieve that goal or complete that job. And this is where it starts to sound like, oh, there could be a solution that already exists out there, or I might have to go create it myself. But usually there's so many choices of so many products and services out there. Somebody has made something to help me achieve this goal. So then I'll select the best solution, and then I'll use it for the duration that I need it. And once I'm done, then I'll throw it away, recycle it, forget about it, goes in a drawer. I give it to the next person, etc. Now, what we try to do, and this is what we do for our clients all the time, is we'll do the customer research to understand what the journey is, and then we'll look for what we call moments that matter. And these are usually the moments where a decision is made. And so I put a little star here. And typically a brand can help influence that decision by providing something of value to the person that hopefully becomes the customer. And there it is. So that's where a brand can fit into a customer's life. So this is literally where brands and customers meet often. And so I referenced the marketing funnel a moment ago, and what we've been doing more and more, especially with digital, because a lot of times people are doing research for projects on the internet. So they're Googling topics, and that's where here's my icon for a marketing funnel fits. So a brand goes, aha, there's a moment that matters. We can be a part of that decision making, and let us help you make that decision. And so come down the funnel with us, and we've got a solution for that moment. So not only is it the selecting a best solution in stage number 4, but it can happen at every stage. And so what's interesting is most of my clients think about a funnel down here, especially if they're product companies. But when they're services companies, like a financial company selling investments or something, they actually want to be up here really early, because if I'm investing for retirement, then I need to, retirement is a life goal. I need to influence a customer very early. Okay, I'm almost to the end of what I'm going to talk about, and we'll have plenty of time for questions. Now, what I think is fascinating, and this is the aspirational level of this, is I think that if we can connect these moments that matter with marketing funnels that keep the customer moving, and the brand can fulfill every moment that matters, this is the ideal way to stay engaged in a customer's life, by helping them get that job done and fulfilling that goal. And so this starts to sound like or look like multiple offerings over time. And if you've ever seen things like the 10 types of innovation or some innovation frameworks, we talk about creating products and then ecosystems. So the example here would be, if you've got a mobile phone like an iPhone, then they'll add in music and messaging and all of these other applications that help fill different goals there or activities in life, and they all revolve around the device. And that's a really effective way to keep a customer close to you and keep them engaged in spending money with you. So this is intentionally generic. I like to call this experience fit, because it's not about a product and it's not even about a service. It's about a life experience, and the brand is fitting into their customer's life experience. It's not even about a user interface or any of some of the other terms for experience that we hear out there. This is literally at the life level. So if branding used to be one way, here I'm jumping around for a minute, now more and more we're focusing on two-way relationships, where rather than saying you will love us, the brand is now finding customer life fit, and the customer is in return joining that brand tribe. So that still works, and it's hopefully a positive relationship more than just a transaction. And so here's my dad joke for the day. We choose our relationships, and if an experience goes sour, then there's no more hugs. And then finally, for all the brands that I've worked with, I continue to consult clients on this and remind them. So I'll end on this. The experience is the brand. So we can make logos and advertising and amazing campaigns and do all of the things to build awareness. But if a customer has a terrible experience either using your product or interacting with your customer service, um, or the brand does something silly out on social media and it just is a turnoff, that's the experience. And so then every time they see or interact with your brand, they'll either have good thoughts or negative thoughts. So this is not new. This is a quote from a man named Clement Mock, who was popular in the early days of the web to help his clients understand that making websites was not about making cool things. It was about engaging with customers, and it continues to be more and more important. Okay, I went through that quickly, so I'm happy to repeat anything, answer any questions, and I'll summarize by saying, this is the shameless plug for the class, this is the type of thinking that we'll explore in our class at CEDIM, and what's fun is it's definitely about customer experience and tying it with branding. And it might sound obvious or not, but I can tell you for all these fancy companies I've worked with, they struggle with this. So I think that this is very timely, and I hope people find it interesting. So thank you.